So for those of you who have been following the channel for quite a while, I'm sure a lot of you know that one of my favorite things to talk about are aliens. Now with aliens becoming a more and more discussed topic as time goes on, I do think it is a good time to start covering more of these stories. Now while we can never be certain that aliens have visited Earth, I am almost certain that there are aliens at least somewhere out there in the universe, and if any of the governments around the world do know about them, I feel like it's going to be within our lifetime that we are going to find out. That's why I feel like several governments around the world are slowly releasing documents about their alien encounters, that way people can get used to it and eventually not be as surprised when the truth does come out. And today we're going to be discussing just that. It's going to be some revealed documents from Russia that came out in 2009 that discuss the story of some scuba divers who were going underwater in a lake to study some kind of underwater phenomenon and actually ran into some kind of alien, aka humanoid creatures. Anyways guys, this is Sinister Stories, and join me as we dive into one of the most unknown alien encounters in Russian history. Now our story is going to start in 1982, back when Russia was actually the Soviet Union. Now there were other rumors of the Soviet Union running into aliens, but of course they were a very totalitarian country, so that was not to be said or talked about, especially to the public. Now like I said, this supposedly happened in 1982 and took place outside the waters of the Soviet Union. Now when I say 1882, that is the account that has been given by several people that apparently heard the story from other people, but the actual file itself that the Soviet Union released was actually undated, so we can't be too sure about that. Now these scuba divers were not just any regular scuba divers, they were actually part of the Russian Navy, and they were actually in a submarine which had all the technology they needed to track certain things. It is on their radar that they actually noticed 6 to 7 forms under the water, and they weren't too sure what it was, so they would try to go investigate it. Now something that is extremely terrifying is that almost immediately after noticing the objects, they noticed that the objects were flying directly at them underwater at a speed that nothing else at the time could even come close to. Now the people on the submarine were actually terrified, and this is something that should be taken note of because all of these were highly trained military professionals. Now the captain of the submarine actually thought he was under attack, and he tried to stop the inevitable collision that would happen if they continued going forward, so he slowed down the speed of the submarine. To their surprise, however, the objects actually slowed down to the exact same speed as the submarine, almost mirroring them in some way. Now at this point the captain was terrified. He thought he was really under attack, and he thought that his life was in danger, so he made an order for the submarine to resurface on top. After coming out of the water, they saw through their periscope and saw 6 objects fly out of the water and fly away at an incredible speed they had never seen before. Now the Soviet file pretty much summarizes that they ran into a squadron of extraterrestrial vehicles. Now this isn't even the most interesting part. There's actually more to this story, and there's another file that even follows up on what they think was inside the spaceships themselves. I guess you can say the Soviet Union had an even closer encounter with the aliens themselves. The other file states that they had some Russian Navy scuba divers that were actually going into Lake Baikal, which is the deepest lake in the world, to study some kind of phenomenon. Now the file did not say exactly what they were going down there to study, but some people think it might be linked to the aliens themselves. Now everything was going routinely up until they got to the 50-meter mark under the lake, and that is when they noticed something that terrified all of the scuba divers. They ran into a group of humanoid creatures that were much bigger than humans and seemed to be wearing some kind of glowing helmet. They were also wearing some kind of skin-tight material, and the helmet seemed to be the only thing protecting them from the water. Now the aliens seemed to be around 9 feet tall, which were extremely tall compared to humans, and they were very skinny. Now it is at this time that the Russian scuba divers made a fatal mistake. Instead of scurrying away like they should have, they tried and attempted to capture one of these creatures. After the aliens noticed that they were trying to be captured, some unknown force pushed the divers all the way up to the top of the water. Now, if you guys don't know about scuba diving, if you're really down into the water, you have to come up slowly, because if not, you get decompression. If you come up too fast to the surface, and if you were really deep before, then this can actually be fatal. And 3 out of the 7 scuba divers actually died because of this, while the other 4 were very injured. So this attempt at trying to capture one of these humanoid creatures actually cost the life of 3 scuba divers. The rest of the scuba divers who actually did survive were so traumatized by the event that they never really talked about it, even when asked. Whether this was on their own behalf or were told by the Russian government to not say a word, we are unaware of. So now comes the idea of what exactly the aliens were doing down there and how they got there. So there are a lot of theories on this, and people always wonder why aliens are always seen underwater, as in USOs. And the reason for that is quite simple. If aliens have been here on Earth, especially for a long time, being underwater is probably the safest place they can be from being detected. It's like the famous saying goes, we know more about our moon than we do about the depths of our oceans, and that is a big reason why the aliens would choose to be underwater if they had to be somewhere on Earth. We don't even know much about our oceans now. Imagine back in the day during ancient Greece or Roman times, where aliens, if they wanted to have a base in the water, could come out and go in almost freely with very little chance of anybody actually seeing them. And if a sailor or somebody did actually see them come out of the water, it would only be a legendary tale rather than full proof of aliens, so nobody would really believe them anyway. Now, several scientists have discussed how they could be underwater or why they would choose to be underwater besides just the convenience of not being seen. Some people think that they could actually have a wormhole under the water in some kind of base, that way they can travel to their planet and to our planet almost immediately rather than having to travel the full distance of space. And this is something that I might believe. If they do control spaceships the way that can move like that, I'm sure that they could make some kind of wormhole to make it easier to travel extremely long distances. Now, as for theories on how the spaceships move the way they do, it is commonly thought that spaceships are used or powered by gravity. This could be maybe backed up by the famous Bob Lazar, who came out a few years ago and apparently worked at Area 51 and has a lot of evidence to support that. He states that these gravity spaceships use gravity as the way of moving the ship pretty much, instead of propulsion like we normally do with rockets and stuff like that. So they use gravity and they bend it in a way to move the ship freely without having to use any fuel, and they pretty much have no limit to how fast they can go. So anyways guys, let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think the Russians actually ran into aliens, or did they maybe come up with this story and this file to push some kind of agenda that we're not aware of? Let me know in the comments below. Also guys, I would like to do a question and answer video, so if you guys have any questions you want to ask me, make sure to leave them in the comments below. I've had experiences with paranormal events. My house was haunted for a long time. We had to get it blessed twice just to get rid of it, and it seems to be coming back, but I don't know, I hope I'm wrong about that. I've seen 2 UFOs in my life, so I do have some experience with that. I'm pretty sure all these experiences is what made me love the paranormal so much, which is why I started a paranormal channel. But yeah, I would like to do a question and answer videos about my personal life or my personal experiences. So leave that in the comments below if you do have any. Or maybe you just have comments about my personal life. Maybe you want to know the type of person that I am, and I would also, appreciate questions like that. If we do get enough questions, I'll make a video on it. If not, well, I guess I'll wait on it. But yeah, anyways guys, this is Sinister Stories. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you all so much for staying this long in the video. I really appreciate it. Drop a like if you liked the video. Drop a dislike if you didn't like it. And I will see you all in the next one.